question is, what's the research about?
Okay, well, research is about looking at the extent of what the cultural values are that have emanated from this movement that we've all called Machinima. It was a project really that built on the work that I did when we put the festival on back in 2007, the Machinima Europe Festival, which was co-developed with the Academy of Machinima Arts and Sciences way back then. But I got really interested in machinima at that point. I should say I'm neither a machinima maker, a games player, or any kind of artist. But the way this phenomenon has evolved and had such phenomenal impact on participatory culture has been something that has been of great interest to me over the years. So when our Arts and Humanities Research Council were calling for research into a range of different types of cultural value, it was a perfect opportunity to put a project together that looked at this particular phenomenon. Of course, the Arts and Humanities Research Council is in Great Britain, in the UK. But Machinima has a global impact, not just UK based. So
Right.
I wanted to look at how the global phenomenon is influencing digital culture all around the world. So, we've looked at how machinimators recognize the values of machinima, how the games developers as key stakeholders in this phenomenon value machinima, and also how digital arts curators have looked at the work that is created and incorporated it into their either gallery spaces or virtual spaces or film offers. So festival offers too. So that's really why we've looked at it.
Right.
How we looked at it.
Mm-hmm. How long did it take you to put the information together?
For the bid.
No, for the actual, once you got the bid and you won it, how long did it take you to acquire the information in order to make evaluations of it?
It's been about 5 months. Well, I should say it's probably taken me since 2007 to get to grips with this. So personally, it's taken me a very long time to get the information, to acquire the knowledge, to understand what's going on. And I wouldn't profess necessarily to be an expert in much of it at all. But for me personally, it's been years. But in terms of this specific project, we've done this in 5 months.
What were some of the things that surprised you in the results that you discovered?
Well, like I said, the legal thing is one of the things that has surprised me, because we've always talked about, the sensitivity of the community to, to the potential for being sued. And I always thought that, the machinimators had such an in-depth understanding of EULAs and terms of service that, they were definitely being on the right side of cautious in their attitude towards games developers' guidelines, if you like. But what surprised me was the games developers' attitude towards machinimators, and they're very positive about the work, almost without exception. One of the kind of things that they did mention was that, maybe what they wouldn't tolerate is somebody taking their core brand and doing something, sort of maybe rude with it or destructive with their core brand. But other than that, they think that machinima adds considerable value to their proposition. So that was a surprise. I think I'd listened to the voice of the community without really considering how the games developers might consider it. I think also I'm very in a range of different work that I do. I'm very into understanding what experience environments are and how they emerge and evolve. And I think what we have across this complex ecology of technologies, including virtual environments, social media, and various web-based environments, if you like, is a contemporary experience environment, which is not home, it's not work, it's not a third space in the way that theories are talked about, but it's a virtual space, and it's a clear experience environment where people. Hello, who we got in there?
You seem to have a rather sexy woman avatar decided to join our conversation.
How funny.
Oh well, somewhat distracting, but
There you go. That's what I mean by experience environments.
yes, indeed.
So, but I think, machinima is one of the key components of that experience environment. I mean, can you imagine the virtual space without machinima?
Yes.
I don't think so anymore.
No.
I think it's so embedded in our culture, not necessarily just the artistic form of it, but the let's play side of it, and the replays and such like are all part of this kind of virtual experience environment, and that's the way that is taking shape. I think is very interesting, and will continue to evolve as the technologies evolve over the next couple of years.
Right.
So that was interesting from my research and interest point of view.
Mm.
I think also this idea about machinima being original, and the authorship associated with machinima works is also, it's coming to the fore more and more, and I do think that there needs to be some clear way that machinimators can take ownership of their original works, and I don't know how that's done or how it's achieved, or what the mechanisms might be to do that, but I think that these are creative works that need recognizing as such, and this participatory culture element is I think is very important, and how we think about machinima within that is something that needs further exploration, really.
My last sort of take on this with you is something that we've been struggling here a little bit with machinima, in that this year we included other forms of animation with machinima, which caused a little consternation in some members of the community because they felt it was a bit unfair. So there was a quote that I thought was interesting that you made in your conclusions, and let me read it to you right quickly. From an aesthetic and viewership perspective, such machinima appear to be converging with traditional animation, yet creatively the skill set is more contemporary and diverse, and will continue to be so as machinimators often seek to remain at the forefront of developments in their chosen creative matrix. As I understand that, you feel that the art machinima, not the Let's Play group, are converging more with traditional forms of animation?
I think what people look at on their screens is difficult to discern from other forms of animation. And if what you do is just view it, then how are you going to know how it's made? And I think the technologies themselves increasingly enable that kind of convergence from a viewership point of view. And yet the way that the work is created, I think, is very different. And my view is that machinimators have a far broader set of skills associated with their creative play than I would anticipate that animators or people using very specific forms of creative practice, they would not have the breadth of knowledge that machinimators would have in creative practice using different modes of creativity, if you like.
Fascinating.
So I think from a viewing point of view, yes, there will be convergence. The quality of these games is just increasing exponentially. I mean, if we're looking at this China set that we're on at the moment in Second Life, I've seen animated works that look very similar to that, and yet we're in a virtual environment here. It's not moving a great deal, but it wouldn't be impossible to see that developed in that way. But it's quite different when you're doing keyframe work. So I think machinimators are always the kind of people that actually like to play with the very latest technologies.
Yes.
And you're going to be tied to that if you continue to use games as the creative matrix, because increasingly we're using mobile devices. We're moving into VR technologies. We're moving into wearables. Goodness knows where that's going to go in terms of how people interact with these environments and what it means for creating machinima. Anyway, Ricky, it's been super talking to you. Thank you so much. Thanks for the support of the work. I look forward to reading the book.
See you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.